Hey guys, this is on production second and on the 4673. And I'm gonna close the window because if not, then the cars are gonna be really annoying. Sorry. There we go. And I am back in Hakuouki, Demon of the Fleeting Blossom, Part 3. Things are good. Things are good. I have tea. I'm happy. I don't know. I'm just so happy because this game's a thing. I haven't gotten over that fact yet, so yeah. Maybe I will get over it at some point, but for now, I haven't gotten over it. There I was, surrounded once again by the leaders of the Shinsengumi. I did think you were rather pretty, but to think you were in fact a lady all this time. Kondo was nodding his head solemnly over and over as if he was agreeing with a very intelligent suggestion. Once you know she's a girl, she doesn't really look like a boy at all, does she? Something about that seemed to impress Toto. Oh, then we bound the girl and left her for an entire night? Oh dear. He looked at me, his eyes concerned. Each of them took the news differently. Well, she claims to be a girl, but it's not like we have any actual proof, right? Proof? Harada laughed. Nakagura grumbled to himself under his breath. Proof? Really? Not obvious enough for you, huh? Alright, will you feel better if I strip her down? Please, don't! No, you will absolutely not! Even suggesting such a thing is preposterous! Kondo shut up before I had even finished, his face bright red, but Harada's words hadn't had any malice behind them. Nope. He's just kidding, that little joker. Little Sanu. I just figured it was the quickest way to settle the situation. Of course. Tea? I'm sorry for drinking tea in videos, but it's nice. He shrugged and settled back into his seat. Nakagura had crossed his arms and his brows were knit. Well, if you really are a girl, then feeling just kind of feels wrong. Oh, come on, you sexist bunch. No. Actually, the one who's the least sexist is Hichikata and Okita. They're just like, oh, who cares if she's a girl? Let's just tie her up. That sounded weird. God. It doesn't matter. If we have to kill her, she dies. Hichikata's words left no room for argument. Gender is irrelevant. Killing in general is wrong. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Senan, please. Thank you. But then again, this is old-time Japan, so it is a bit sexist. That's just the way it is. So, guess I can't be wrong in that way. We were organized to protect the public good in the city of Kyoto. We would ill-serve the public good by murdering civilians in cold blood. True. Yeah, but if this girl or boy is a threat to the peace, that's a horse of a different color. He had that grin again. The Shinsengumi didn't enjoy a shining reputation already. If rumors began to spread that their men were thirsty for blood, things weren't likely to go well for them. They wouldn't be able to operate in Kyoto, and with no one to protect the people, the city would eventually fall into chaos. I could see in their eyes that each one of them knew full well the consequences rash actions would have. Well, then we need only determine if you are a threat. Will you tell us your side of the story? I could feel all their eyes upon me. The room went quiet. My name is Chizuru Yukimura. I told them everything, how I lived in Edo, how I'd come to Kyoto to find my father. Oh, then you're from Edo as well. And you came all the way to Kyoto to find your father. I could see emotion welling up in his eyes. What business did your father have in Kyoto? My father is a doctor. His name is Koto. That's the Kodo. Kodo Yukimura, and he specializes in Western medicine. What? Huh? The moment my father's name crossed my lips, the atmosphere in the room changed. Oh my, so the good Dr. Kodo has a daughter. You know my father? I wasn't sure what the sudden silence meant, only that the revelation of my parentage had caused a pronounced change in their behavior. It was Saito who finally broke the silence. The Shinsengumi is currently attempting to determine the whereabouts of Dr. Kodo Yukimura. You're after my father? Why? Oh no, you've got us all wrong. We're not after him. Oh, I see. Tension that I hadn't noticed appear began to dissipate. He's a fellow supporter of the Shogun, but, well, he kinda disappeared a little while ago. He just kinda disappeared. Not entirely disappeared, but just kind of. There's a reasonable chance that the enemies of the Shogun have identified him as a threat. My eyes went wide, but Saito kept talking as if I'd done nothing. There is also a chance, of course, that he's still alive. Doctors trained in Western medicine are valuable and rare. I wasn't sure what else to do, so I nodded. My heart pounded in my chest, threatening to burst out onto the floor. Father, was he safe? But with you, we have a much better chance of finding the good doctor. Huh? Sudden continued. Apparently my father had only visited a small number of times. I understood then what it meant. It would be difficult for them to track down someone they barely knew. You're his daughter, however. You ought to be able to recognize him no matter how he may have disguised himself, yes? Yes, I could. I nodded as I spoke and gave him what I hoped was a steady, reassuring smile. Well, if she's his daughter, we can't really kill her, can we? Which means more work for me, his eyes added. They narrowed as he looked down at me. If you swear you'll forget what you saw last night, then we'll look after you until you can find your father. Fair? I promise that the Shinsengumi will do whatever they can to help you find Dr. Kodo. Thank you so much! I'd never imagined something like this. Not only had I survived, I'd found my first decent lead. You must be pretty glad we won't be killing you, huh? Well, won't be killing you just now at any rate. He gave me the same wolfish smile. Grin. There was no denying that my situation was still less than desirable, but at the moment I didn't care. Yes, I'm very glad. I'd been through a lot, but at last I'd found help. And where I'd never expected it, the Shinsengumi. Kyoto hadn't been kind to me, even though I'd been there for less than a day. But it looked as though my fortunes were taking a turn for the better. I still had a long way to go, and I had worries aplenty, but it was important to stay optimistic. I'd prefer to place you in the custody of the Judiciary Commissioner or the Aisu rather than keeping you in a house full of men, but Aisu is another clan, as far as I can remember from the anime. Yeah, it's another clan that they're allied with, I think. Kondo let the sentence hang in the air and looked at me, his arms folded. It was clear I had no choice but to stay with the Shinsengumi. Should you require anything, you need only ask. We will do what we can to accommodate you. Oh, his expression didn't change, but his words were unexpectedly warm. I looked away from him awkwardly, and I could feel the heat rise in my cheeks. Thank you. Well, I guess it will have to be nicer to you now that we know you're a girl. You don't have to. You're always so nice to the lady, Shin. Sure didn't take long for you to change your tune once you figured out she was a girl, huh? Ah, whatever. Having a lady here at headquarters sure is gonna brighten things up, huh? I wasn't entirely sure what would be the outcome. Still, we can hardly treat her as one of our soldiers. Something else must be done with her. Then make her a page or something. You want an assistant, Kando? How about you, Sanan? He gave a small shrug. Whatever was done with me, it seemed he no longer cared. Oh, come on now, Hichikata. It's your idea. You can't just pawn her off on someone else. Ah, excellent. I believe we can trust Toshi with her. Kando's face lit into a wide grin and he slapped his leg in agreement. Well, there you have it, Hichikata. I hope you'll take good care of her. Sanan's smile had more than a little of a mocking twist to it. You sons of bitches. I'm sorry, I can't sound angry, it's so funny. I remember this so well. I actually thought that would be something different, like perhaps, excuse me, perhaps it would be the guy that we go for we can have as escort, but no, it's still Hichikata, so as I watched their sorry, got distracted. As I watched their back and forth, some of my earlier belief began to ebb away. What was gonna happen to me? I don't know. Ooh, February 1864. Well, that's something we can work with. I slid the door open, and a breath of cool morning air met me. Clumps of thick clouds trundled silently over the city, an unusually strong wind driving them along. It's cold today. I shivered a bit and grabbed a jacket from near the door to wrap around myself. A week had passed since I'd begun living in the headquarters of the Shinsengumi. They allowed me to roam around the compound as I pleased, and I was given a room of my own. They weren't the best accommodations, but given that they very nearly murdered me instead, I thought best not to complain. Still, I looked down at my feet on the cold floor inside. Do I really need to dress like this all the time? They'd given me a place to live for the time being, but it hadn't been without conditions. The Shinsengumi will look after you, but we can't have a woman running around our headquarters. As he explained the room, goddammit. It seemed even that the people who were after my father to the Shinsengumi whatever. Of course, they hadn't been able to determine whether or not he'd been even been attacked. There were a great many questions left unanswered. We could ill afford any reckless decisions. Or so Hichikata had told me. So in other words, we need you to keep pretending to be a man. I doubt that's what you wanted to hear, but you do it or you're out on your ass. Clear? Yes. His reasoning was sound, but perhaps more than that, I knew he was looking out for not only the Shinsengumi, but also for the safety of my father and myself. I didn't have a choice, of course, but knowing that made following his orders at least somewhat palatable. I doubt you would do so intentionally, but the presence of a woman could disrupt morale, so to speak. His tone suggested he was joking, but it was clear that he was telling the truth as well. So the reason only we, the Shinsengumi's leadership, will know the truth. For that reason, only we will know the truth of your situation. If word were to get out, there was no telling how fast rumors could spread or where to. I had to stay a boy. Alright then, what should I do while I'm here? Nothing. You're gonna get a room and you're gonna stay in it. Really? Could have sworn we decided she was gonna be someone's page. Hichikata turned towards Okita and his eyes narrowed. So you keep your tongue in your mouth or I'll cut the fucking thing off. Aha. So nice. You've got such a full mouth. Before long, I'd been there for a week. I guess I don't have much of a choice. I prefer otherwise, of course, but I'll do what I have to. I wasn't quite sure what to make of it yet, but since I'd been dressing like a boy, I'd grown rather used to the feel of wearing pants and having the kodachi my father had given me always at my hip. He'd presented me with with it when I was only a child, and impressed upon me at least some sense of its importance. Supposedly, it had been in the Yukimura family for generations. As such, I was forced to take lessons in swordplay, so I knew which end was meant for the enemy, but I had never much cared for weapons. They hurt people, of course, but it was more than that, at least for me. For as far back as I could remember, any wounds I'd suffered healed at an incredible rate. Small cuts would disappear overnight. As a child, I thought nothing of it, but as I grew older, I began to realize that I was not quite normal. When I asked my father, he told me it was a gift from the gods, but I should tell no one of it. I didn't tell anyone, of course. I was afraid they would treat me like a monster if they did. Ever since then, I've done my best not to get hurt. I stayed as far away from blades as I could, and before I realized it, I was rather afraid of them. Interesting. Well, I knew that, but interesting to get this side of the story with it. Dressing as a man all the time was as frustrating as carrying a sword, but it was my condition that worried me the most. Still, that wasn't the only thing on my mind. The rank and file soldiers had been treating me coldly. I'm not just imagining it, right? I heard having a private room was a rare privilege even for the captains. For a child to appear out of nowhere and be given better treatment than their own captains, it was little wonder the soldiers resented me. True, I suppose I can't really blame them. Also, quite simply, I felt bad. I was enjoying the hospitality, such as it was, of the Shinsengumi, and I felt like I should help them in some way, but I knew nothing of soldiers and their ways. There wasn't much opportunity for me to learn either. Hichikata had instructed me to leave my room as little as possible. From time to time, the captains or the officers would send me on one errand or another, but I was nothing approaching a page. Most of the duties they gave me were things more suited for a maid than a soldier, and it made the rest of the men even more resentful for what appeared to be special treatment. They're just watching me. To make sure I keep my mouth shut, they took turns keeping watch over me. My mistakes could mean serious trouble for them, so they were doing their best to keep me away from the other soldiers. Then again, perhaps I was just a poor actor. The soldiers almost never spoke to me, but when they did, it was difficult for me to act manly. All too often the captains had to step in to cover for me. Each time they did, it made it look as though I couldn't even manage to speak for myself, and I felt even worse. If I'm really gonna stay here, I'd like to be friends with at least some of them. But I can't exactly tell them the truth, can I? Indeed, I couldn't, and so I had no choice but to stay out of the way and keep to myself. It wasn't a pleasant existence, and I was beginning to feel depressed. If I'm supposed to stay out of the way, then I shouldn't be leaving my room, but I very much wanted to go look for my father. However, even after a week had passed, I was still not allowed to leave headquarters. I'd come to Kyoto in search of my father, but for the time being it seemed that the search had been stopped in its tracks. Perhaps, I thought, I could talk to Hichikata if he would give me permission to look for my father. Oh, no, that's right. Hichikata had left on a trip to Osaka several days before. Perhaps I can sneak out while he's not here. Bad idea. You know that they said if you try to run, they'll cut you down. He said that several times. Save! We're gonna save, and then we're gonna see which of them... I'm sorry. We're gonna save, and then we're gonna check if... Alright, let's first try to stay put. If I was honest, staying in the room was awfully boring. No, you need to follow Ichikata's orders, Chisato. I shook my head to clear it and tried to forget about temptation. I didn't want to cause any more trouble than I already had. The consequences would not be good. I looked around the wheel. Wheel? What the? The wheel. I looked around the room, feeling somewhat forlorn. It was a very nice room, but it was completely empty. Not uncomfortable per se, but not uncomfortable either. There was something which made. There was nothing which I might make the time pass. And here I thought I got used to doing nothing. My father's business had taken him out of the house frequently, sometimes for days at a time, so I'd spend a good deal of time home on my own. This isn't quite the same, though. Back then I always knew he'd be back eventually. Waiting for someone you knew would return and waiting for what you didn't quite know are two very different things. When will I be able to look for Father, I wonder? I let out a frustrated sigh. Yukimura, I've been looking for you. I didn't think you'd be here. Kondo smiled brilliantly as he stepped into the room, tray in one hand. I'm sorry? I wasn't sure what to make of his words, so instead I gave him an awkward sort of bow. He stepped further into the room, still smiling, and paused and gave me an odd look. Wait a moment, is this your room? Until then I hadn't thought about it, but since they brought me in, this was the first time I'd seen Kondo. So now, yes. The moment the words were out of my mouth, his eyes went wide. Oh no, then I barged into a woman's room without announcing myself. Oh, no, it's fine. I gestured at the rest of the room as he took a step back towards the door. It, after all, isn't as though there isn't anything I wouldn't want you to see. He seemed unsure as I beckoned for him to come back in. We decided you would be Toshi's page, so I assumed your room would be next to his. Hichikata had of course failed to tell Kondo that I had yet to be made a page. I wasn't surprised. It wasn't too hard to see what was going on. I'm not really prepared to entertain, but you're welcome to come in if you'd like. An official invitation seemed to dispel most of his concern, and his smile creased his face again. Oh, you needn't feel nervous around me. While you're here, you're a guest of the Shinsengumi. With that, he placed the tray on the floor between us. I looked at the tray. I could barely stifle a sudden squeal of delighted excitement. Kondo coughed his best to look not nonchalant. Do you like sweets? I found these in the cupboard, and I thought... I do, in fact. I like these especially. Some of the tension left his face, and he grinned at me. You can't go for this guy, so I don't know what's gonna happen now. I'm really confused. On the plate, he'd arranged several colorful candies and a cup of warm green tea. So, what do you think? If you'd like to have some, go ahead. He looked right at me and smiled hopefully as if to say, I hope you like them. Thank you very much. I reached out cautiously and took one of the candies. It's been a while since I'd had any sweets. Something about the small colorful candy seemed so adorable that I couldn't help but smile. Kondo didn't laugh at my admittedly childish reaction. Instead, he just smiled warmly. Oh yes, I've heard you haven't been allowed to go outside. That's true. I could see his brows draw together in concern. I'm just gonna check really quick if something else happens if I go to the other things. So yeah, I'm gonna check that now. Give me a second. Oh, no. Yes, load the save data. Okay, I've already taken that assist. Talk to someone. Can I find Okita somewhere? Perhaps there would be someone in the inner courtyard to talk to, I thought. I didn't want to be spotted by the soldiers, so I hid for a moment and scanned the area. Oh, good. Things were looking up. Yes! There we go. The only people in the courtyard were Okita and Saito. Good morning, Okita. Good morning, Saito. They showed no sign of surprise at my approach and turned lazily to greet me. Good morning, Chizuru. Thinking hard on something, are we? What? How did you guess? We didn't have to. You just told us. At any rate, if you have something to say, then out with it. He was clever, I had to admit. Well, I didn't want to impose a complaint, but they had asked. I was hoping I could go look for my father soon. That's not, okay, that's not possible. We don't have enough men to spare to keep an eye on you. Oh, he hadn't exactly left me any room for argument. No, I couldn't just give up. Isn't there anything you can do? It's not like I want to go very far. Just walking around the city near your headquarters would be enough.
Well, I suppose we might be able to let you tag along when we go on our rounds.
Oh,
I had to admit I hadn't expected Okita to lift a finger for me. This isn't just a stroll. If you're out with us, your life is in danger. If we make mistakes, our men die. If you don't want to get cut open by some angry Ronin with too much to drink and too little coin, you need to be ready to put up a fight. He gave me a smile, but it wasn't entirely pleasant.
Well, I know a little self-defense.
A little being the operative words, but I couldn't bring myself to simply stand there and say nothing. In all honesty, the last thing I wanted to see was another person die. I had seen enough of that up to last a lifetime. Still, I told myself I couldn't let fear rule my decisions. No matter the danger, I had to look for my father. Kyoto was a dangerous place, and if I let fear hold me back, I knew I'd never find him. I felt Saito's eyes on me before he spoke. In that case, allow me to test you. Let me see if that blade of yours is merely for show.
What?
I looked up at him and then back at down at my kodachi.
Yes, I've learned how to use my sword, but I
will hold back, but you need not. Come at me with your most powerful strike.
But
Saito simply stared at me with flat, cold eyes. He looked almost bored. Is something wrong, Yukimura? Draw your blade unless it's merely decoration.
No, of course it's not. And I have taken lessons, I'm not lying.
But
I can't attack you. If you could stab or cut, you could die.
Laughter shook his body.
It's not funny.
Oh, that you could kill Saito? That's not funny. Oh man, this is too good. Of course, I hadn't thought I could beat one of the captains of Shinsengumi, but still. His words certainly had made me feel any better about the situations.
Swords are made for killing people. What if I hurt him?
My words were more for myself than them, I suppose. I wouldn't think twice about attacking to defend myself or protect someone else, but this was nothing like that.
I just can't draw my sword on someone for no reason if there's even a small chance I could hurt them.
Okita grinned at me. It was a strange smile, somewhat warm and cold at the same time. I wasn't sure how to feel about it. I understand how you feel, but you probably ought to show him what you're made of.
Huh?
Prove you can use your sword and we may consider taking you with us on our rounds.
Then
he wanted to test me to help me. If you're so concerned for my safety, then use your scabbard or the back of your blade. I looked down at my sword. Even with the scabbard or the back of the blade, a strike in the right or wrong place could easily break a bone. But if they were doing this for me, well, I could hardly turn them down. I straightened up and looked straight into Saito's cold, calm eyes.
Let's go!
I settled into a fighting position. Saito cocked his head slightly to one side and let out a small noise I took to be a laugh.
Ah, his little smile, his little adorable smile.
He didn't appear to be moving to a fighting stance of his own, despite the fact that I was clearly ready to attack. Did he intend to leave his sword sheathed? I stopped the thought as soon as it showed itself. His words were to be trusted.
Here I come!
As I stepped forward, I let out a yell and lunged. The backside of my blade collided with the defenseless Saito. Or so I thought.
Huh?
In the space of a blink, his face was only inches from mine, and I could feel the cold steel of his blade. This, then, was the skill of the captain of the Shinsengumi. My body froze, and I could feel the beginnings of cold sweat. Your master should be proud. Your blade was not clouded. You can see into the heart of of one's swordsmanship. You were blessed with a good teacher. He turned without another word, sheathed his sword, and began to walk away. Sorry, the recorder stopped. Only then did I notice how wildly my heart was beating.
What was that?
I like the fact that she has this little tiny crush on Saito. Like it's so quiet, but like Saito is the only one where she's like blushy or my heart is beating. I like that. This is a pretty nice little blade. Looks old though. Huh? I looked over at Okita to see him holding my kadachi. I looked down at my hand, what I expected to see the sword be, but it was empty. I'm sorry, thank you for picking up my sword. He nodded and tossed the sword to me. I reached for it, but there was almost no strength left in my hands and I nearly dropped it. The blow of Saito's sword on my own head had left my hands, even my arms, numb. The strength seemed almost inhuman. You alright? Gave you a bit of a start, didn't he? Not surprising. Saito's a real lie master. Alright, I gotta check that word out. Encyclopedia! Yeah. It's under this. Headquarters, Heske, House, Lie, there we go. EI. EI? Yeah, EI. A martial art, technique where one strikes and finishes off their opponent in one smooth motion from the starting position of the sword inside its sheath. Its focus is the quick draw. Interesting. Circle, 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 circle. There you go. His smile had grown even wider, although I had no idea what he found so amusing. Yes, I suppose I'm okay. But what's... Are you serious? No, I just read it. What's EI? I felt a bit of a fool for asking, but they seemed to think it was a perfectly legitimate question. A technique where one draws, so yeah. Yes. When you wear your katana, just like my akadachi, then... He nodded. Then there had been a time when all swords were worn with the blade down, but nowadays most of them wore them up. Normally one waits until the blade is drawn, then he flips the blade over and faces their opponent. And then he could easily have taken my head with that blade. Had I faced him in actual battle, there was no doubt I would have been dead before I even touched him. And in EI, the sword is drawn with one hand. Some people say that means you don't get as powerful a swing. But that's not a problem Saito has. He could easily finish an opponent with a single blow. Oh, that was my voice. That was not Okita's. My voice was quiet with fear and awe. Okita laughed easily and gave me a nod. He'd have you finished off right after he knocked the sword out of your hand. The only reason I had survived that encounter was because Saito had never intended to kill me. The thought made me shiver. That's EI then. From a true master of the art. I didn't have the words to describe what it was like. Something that felt a good deal like fear coiled itself around my heart. However, I'd seen them act. The men of the Shinsengumi were deadly. To live in their headquarters was to share your home with men who could take life as easily as breathing. Don't berate yourself. The technique may not be impressive, but it is enough that we might take you along. Really? I looked from Saito to Okita. He gave me a smile and brought his hand together in a polite applause. Well, look at that. Hachima himself gave you a pass. That's pretty amazing, you know. Then that means you can take me with you? Well, if the man who told you to stay here gives his approval, then yeah, we can take you out anytime. Right. I had a feeling he was going to say something along those lines, so I simply nodded in agreement. You're going to have to wait till Hichikata gets back from Osaka. Sorry. Oh, right, you don't need to apologize, Saito. It's alright. Saito looked at me for a beat, then turned away. I thought he perhaps felt a little bad. He's so adorable. I love him so much. We'll ask the commander for permission to take you on patrol. So you think you can wait just a bit longer? If you want, we'll keep you company. Really? What kind of company would they be, I wondered. Good company. I turned up and looked at the sky. At least I had made some progress in my search, I told myself, however little. The wind may have pushed the clouds off Kyoto, and the brilliant blue they'd hidden shone down on me. That's great! I have to end the episode here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!